Welcome, my friends, back to the Fog, a realm of demons and monsters, a place where only the strong can survive, where every moment is a test of one's limits, capabilities, and tenacity. Some survivors have little of any, yet some have far more than most. Yui Kimura is one such survivor, who is boiling over with strength to endure any challenge. Yui Kimura was raised in Hida, where, despite her father's wanting to bring her up in a traditional manner, she took to scooter races in the streets, where she earned a reputation as a girl who could do the impossible with very little. Though her father did all he could to get her onto a path of education, growth, and tradition, her grandmother continued to encourage Yui, offering her the old engineering manuals and notes on mechanics of Yui's late grandfather to further bolster her love for all things mechanical. She improved her own engine in secret in order to race against the older boys in town. She was so skilled, in fact, that even those arrogant boys couldn't beat her, so they planned on making her crash and burn, to win by cheating. But Yui was too skilled, outmaneuvering them at every possible turn and becoming a sensation to her friends. When the time came to apply for a higher education, though, Yui confessed she had no interest in higher education, but merely wanted to race motorcycles. Her father shouted, pleaded, and argued with her to reconsider, but when she wouldn't be moved, he finally told her to leave and not come back. She was no longer welcome in his house. Fortunately for Yui, her grandmother offered her savings and blessings to allow her to continue pursuing her dreams. Life was not easy for Yui in Nagoya. She could only take small jobs to make ends meet, and was always working from paycheck to paycheck. She used the last of her grandmother's money to purchase a racing bike and enter illegal street races, where she earned more money than she could have thought possible. As her racing cred grew, so too did her fans, until eventually she brought in several other women racers from around Japan who all looked up to her and admired her skill. However, not all the fame she gained was good. Yui became aware over time of a stalker. At one point, the stalker broke into her apartment and stole her prized handkerchief. When she reported it to the police, they dismissed her, laughing about how it was likely nothing but a misunderstanding, that they may even end up dating this boy. However, sometime later, the stalker was back, and Yui caught him searching through her things. She lunged at him and a fight broke out, and though beaten and bruised, she managed to grab a knife and pin the stalker down, holding the blade to his neck. The police finally arrived and arrested the stalker, and Yui was rushed to the hospital. Though she'd broken her arm and foot in several places, it wasn't too long before her gang, now known as the Sakura 7, arrived and helped pay her medical bills. Though rehabilitation was difficult, she never gave up, and she was back to racing in no time. To replace her lost Hachimaki, her gang put together a new one for her, with all their names and messages of luck on them. She decided to redesign her gang as racers with a purpose, to give inspiration to all women out there who suffer from abuse or stalkers. The pink Hachimaki became a symbol of women's empowerment in Japan as the gang Yui started grew ever bigger. Women came from all over to watch her race, and after winning 7 straight races in a row, she got herself an official sponsor. She became the youngest woman to ever win the All Japan Moto Championship. She gained more sponsors, a larger gang, and money like she'd never dreamed of. But things all ended at the illegal Tokyo Kick 3000. Though leading the race, Yui suddenly found herself driving into a dark and unnatural fog that led her somewhere altogether different. This world wasn't Tokyo, and Yui came to learn that there were far worse things than stalkers in this place. Okay guys, full disclosure. I hate Yui Kimura's lore. It is so terrible. This is some of the worst lore I've read in this series for Dead by Daylight. And it hurts. It hurts so much. I want to like Yui, okay? When I saw Yui, I thought she looked awesome. The idea of a biker chick was awesome. The fact she's from Asia was awesome, because you know me, I love Asian history and culture. I should have loved this character. I wanted to love this character. I thought Yui was the character I was going to go, hey, there's a character I can really get behind. But then I read this lore. It's so terrible. It's so awful. It hurts. It actually makes me feel sick to my stomach just reading this lore. Why? Well, just straight up, she's a Mary Sue. Everything about her is feminist pandering. Woke feminist pandering. Right down to her perk, any means necessary, showing her doing the literal Rosie the Riveter pose. Like, You can't make this up, guys. Oh, it's so bad. And I hope you guys saw it as I was reading it, but if you didn't, let me break it down. No positive or friendly males in her life, like no friends or family that are male that are good. Every male she encounters is either antagonistic or dumb. Her father disowns her. The boys that she used to race as a child tried to cheat and hurt her, but she still outmaneuvered them. She beats every guy that she races against. The stalker that attacked her was a guy, and she overpowered him somehow, even though we have no evidence that she knows how to fight or can overpower a man. And the police who she went to about the stalking in the first place dismiss her issues because they think it's womanly hysteria. So no men in her life are at all helpful or useful. She wins everything she does, even when her opponents cheat, like the boys did when she was a child. She's still just too good to lose. She never suffers an L. You notice that throughout her lore, she never loses. Now, yes, in the tome, I know she gives up a race because the guy that she was racing got injured and she stopped to help him. But that's just showing her compassion, her selflessness, which is another Mary Sue trait. Showing selflessness in the face of, potential victory, and yet still coming out on top as a result. So. And you might think, oh no, she didn't come out on top because she lost the prize money. Well, that goes into the other thing. Most Mary Sues never suffer any meaningful consequences. The story tries to tell us, oh, she goes through financial hardship because she has to work paycheck to paycheck. Yeah, until she wins every illegal street race she partakes in and gets money from it. And then when she's in the hospital and you think, oh, here's where the financial issue is going to come into play and she's going to have trouble paying her medical bills. Nope, her gang shows up and pays all of them. Okay, so that's not even an issue. There is no meaningful loss this character suffers. She loses her handkerchief. It's okay. She gets a new one from her friends, which leads her to build her gang off of it. She suffers financial hardship. Oh, no, she doesn't. Her gang helps support her financially, and she wins every race anyway. Oh, there are some guys who are mean to her and a guy stalking her. It's okay. She beats him. Are you seeing the problem? Like, there is nothing about this girl that shows a struggle or a journey. There's just win after win after win after win. And sometimes you need a character who suffers an L so that you can relate to them. There's nothing about Yui Kimura you can relate to. She is a walking feminist brochure. That's what she is. And it's clear. That's the problem. I wouldn't mind some of this if it wasn't so blatant. If it wasn't so obvious what they were trying to do. They were trying to sell a girl power narrative, and that's all they cared about. It's very evident. We need a girl power character. Let's make her a super awesome biker who never loses. And here's the worst part. You want to know something? I could come up with better lore than this. Watch this. I'm gonna fix her lore. Here we go. First, have it that her father doesn't understand why she loves racing so much. But when she races the boys in her neighborhood, their cheating ways actually end up injuring her. Like, she suffers a broken arm or a leg of some kind because they cheated and hurt her, and now she's injured. Her father comes to her rescue, supporting her, getting her to the hospital, and he hopes, hey, you got injured? Will this finally discourage you from doing this stuff in the future? Will you finally stop doing this now? But then she tells him, Dad, I love doing this too much. I'm sorry. I'm not stopping, not for those boys, and not even for you. So the father finally says, all right, then tell you what, I'm going to invest in you. And then he gives her his savings and says, these are my savings I was saving for you to go to college. I'm giving them to you now to pursue your dream. But I want you to pay it back to me once you're an awesome biker. Once you fulfill your dream, I want you to pay it back. It's a father investing in his daughter. Okay, so now she has a goal. She needs to pay back her father for investing in her. That's a goal. That's a solid, concrete goal. Okay. Now, when she gets to Nagoya, money comes hard for her. It's very difficult. So she goes into the racing circuit hoping she can make some money. But she actually loses most of her first races as she's still learning the ins and outs of races. See, racing motorcycles isn't like racing scooters back home. There's a lot more to it than that. So during one of her races, she knows she's losing, and she sees another racer go down on the track, and she stops to help them. This racer, who has more experience in the field, becomes Yui's first friend and decides to help her improve her bike and her skills. They work together from a friendship. She ends up meeting new bikers and other people who help give her encouragement. Months later, she is improving, getting better and better. She's even gaining a fan base. She even starts getting a few wins, making some actual money. She's getting close to paying back her father. She's almost there. But then the stalker appears. He steals her money and her earnings. But she can't go to the police. See, that's another problem with the original lore. Why did she go to the police? She's an illegal street racer. That's stupid. Yeah, that's a great idea. Oh, aren't you that illegal street racer? Yeah, I'm putting you in handcuffs, sweetheart. But no, she can't go to the police. So she decides instead to settle things herself. When the stalker arrives, she tries to ambush him and they get into a fight. But since she's not used to fighting, she gets hurt. Bad. And instead of her catching the stalker, he beats her to a pulp, steals her money, and makes a run for it, leaving her bleeding on the floor. Eventually the neighbors show up and they end up calling the police. They call an ambulance. She goes to the hospital and her fans arrive. But then to her shock, her father shows up too. And Yui is in tears. She apologizes, says, "I'm sorry, Dad. I had the money. I was going to pay you back. I was going to make you proud of me, but then a thief stole it." And she feels horrible for letting him down. But not only does her father dismiss this entirely, he holds his daughter after months, years maybe, of being apart and tells her how proud he is, that she never stopped shooting for the top, never stopped believing in who she could be, and even then, even in the midst of all that, never forgot where she came from, never forgot to pay him back, because the true meaning of traditional value is to remember where you came from and where you started. The fact that she was still thinking of trying to pay him back, that she hadn't forgotten her debt to him, proved that she was still his daughter and still someone he wanted to support. Because to him, it wasn't about her making money. It was about her honoring where she came from. And the fact that her entire career had been focused around paying him back told him, "You are still my daughter. I still love you. I always loved you and I always supported you. I just needed you to remember who you are." Yui takes this and becomes a racing sensation when she gets out of the hospital. Racing in the memory of her father, who supported her, and for women everywhere, so that they don't settle for less and prove that what they want to be, they can be, so long as they never forget who they are and where they came from. That right there, at least to me, is an empowering message that shows Yui's weaknesses, shows a caring father, that shows a better message than just girl power, exploring themes of family, tradition versus modernity, in fact, compassion, tenacity. See, that's, to me, good lore beneath the surface. There is something there. There's something really stirring in her story. But instead, behavior decided girl power must hold the day, right? We gotta make sure she's a tough, strong, independent woman. Every man is her enemy. She is a challenging individual who races for all women everywhere. Ugh. This lore could have been exceptional. It could have been great. All you had to do was make her a character. Make her someone I could appreciate, following, and admire. Instead, you made her one that I'm kind of like, why do I care about you? You'll never lose. You have never lost. You've never suffered. You win at everything. I wish I could win at everything. Sorry, but that makes me a little mad because there was something really good there. There was something really good beneath the surface. And it just feels wasted. Anyway, let's move on. Most of y'all don't care about the lore. Y'all care about the perks. So let's talk perks. Yui's perks actually are pretty good, showing that defiant and tenacious attitude of hers. She uses Lucky Break, Any Means Necessary, and Breakout. Lucky Break activates when you're in the injured state. You suppress all pools of blood and scratch marks for 60 seconds, after which the perk deactivates. Every second spent healing a survivor adds an extra second to Lucky Break to its maximum amount. The perk will also deactivate if you're fully healed or put in a dying state. Now, I do like this perk because it provides a nice chance to escape danger and encourages altruism to refresh it. It's not something you can easily spam in a lone wolf style play. And I also like it because it, again, could tie into that sense of compassion, you know? She's had a lot of luck thrown her way, you know, like her father giving her the money in my idea, but she still uses it to pay forward, you know, to try to help other people. I like that. That works for me. And then you have Any Means Necessary. It's Yui's most famous perk and one that changed the name of the game for survivors. By holding the power button near a drop pallet, Yui can reset the pallet back to its original position, allowing it to be used again. Yui can also see any drop pallets in the map, highlighted in yellow for her. Now, I absolutely love this perk and I run it on a lot of my survivor builds, but it also allows me to always have more ways to stun killers. And then there's Breakout. Breakout is a daredevil perk. When you're within 5 meters of a carried survivor, you gain the haste status effect, and the wiggle progression of the carried survivor is increased by 25%. I don't usually run this one just because I'm not as good at outrunning or juking the killer, so I'm not as comfortable taking that risk. But if your teammate is running Boiling Over and you're running Breakout, you might be able to combine those two to irritate the killer through the whole match every time they try to pick him up. But that's all I have to say about Yui. Like I said, it could have been great. Yui's story could have been phenomenal. But it wasn't. And it's sad, like I said. The idea of a cool biker girl from Japan? What's not to like about that? Well, turns out, even if you make a really cool concept, you can still butcher the lore. You can still butcher her story. I'm still going to play her because I'm just going to pretend that my story's canon, okay? I'm just going to take my story and replace the canon. What do you guys think? Will you be doing the same thing? Do you think that my lore is better than the original, or do you think that I'm missing something there? Let me know down in the comments. And next time we come back to the Fog, we'll be dealing with another character from Japan. One who, is quite demonic, and with lore that I have to say is way better than Yui's. Until then, I will see you next time in the Fog. Take care.